This episode of the Managing Madrid Podcast is brought to you by Fairmont Dallas Hotel, who hooked up the Managing Madrid Podcast crew in Dallas, made our stay pretty comfortable as we covered Real Madrid's preseason tour. If you're ever going to Dallas, book your stay at Fairmont Dallas. Incredible pool overlooking the Dallas skyline. Great food, very central, downtown. Big shout out to Fairmont Dallas. You guys are great. Thank you so much for hosting us. Coming up is the final post-game podcast of Real Madrid's preseason. We are recording this minutes after Juventus beat Real Madrid 3-1 in Orlando. And joining me to break down the loss, the second consecutive loss after 80 million shots in the last two games, only one goal to show for. Let's get into all the doom and gloom. Mehedi Hassan is joining me, Kiyan Sobhani, to go over the game. Mehedi, first question for you is this. You wrote the immediate reaction for Managing Madrid. So this is my ground-shattering, earth-shattering question. What is your immediate reaction? What's like the first thing that comes to your mind 10 seconds after the final whistle?
Well, I'm mad at Vlahovic. First of all, I had to edit my report in the last second. It was all ready to go up. Then I had to change the title. I had to change a paragraph in the middle. But the immediate reaction is I'm in this weird confused state where I don't know how much I should be excited for the season, because how I have seen this game and also the preceding three games, other preseason games, is these games they were preseason games, but they were against pretty competitive opponents. The games are good games. And the struggles that Real Madrid have been having for quite some time, they stayed throughout these four games. So my immediate reaction is a reaction of confusion, because I have actually noted down the pros, or the good things that I've observed during this preseason, and all the bad things, or the things that have not gone Real Madrid's way during this preseason. So the actual reaction is that I'm confused. I don't know what to make of it, and what to think of the team going into the season that's going to kick off in 8 days.
So the reality is we don't really quite know. But I'm going to provide a pessimistic take. And I don't like doing that after preseason, to be quite honest, because it's preseason. We've seen Real Madrid lose 7-3 to Atletico Madrid. We've seen countless examples that not only preseason, but even early on, Champions League group stage games, which are absolutely terrible, are not indicative of how the team will finish in springtime. Having said that, I think there are real things that I saw this preseason that I have trouble seeing getting fixed as the season goes on, if the squad is as currently constructed. Let me just make that important distinction. If the squad is as currently constructed, I'm worried about the amount of goals we score. Quite frankly, I'm also worried about the defensive issues, because I think no matter what, those defensive issues will exist next season, regardless of if you get Mbappe or not. He's not fixing some of those defensive miscues from the last two games. But the bigger concern is, in some regard, if you don't get him and you lack the goals, your margin of error becomes less and less, and those defensive mistakes get magnified. You look at it today. Let me not exaggerate. Let me just actually bring up the real stats. To show what it took for Real Madrid to score one goal, and for what it took for Juve to score two goals. And while that loads, I also just want to say this. I know that a lot of people saw the starting lineup today and were concerned that this is the starting lineup because it's the last preseason game. I don't think this is the starting lineup we see on Matchday 1. I think the starting lineup is closer to what we saw in the second half. And let's be honest, second half actually, we looked pretty good. When Juve scored their third goal, it was pretty much just a counterattack. It's like those goals that happen when it's a pickup game and at the end people stop defending, you're chasing a goal. It still counts. Obviously, you lost 3-1. You didn't lose 2-1, but I'm just kind of putting things into context. For the majority of the game, and you can look at the SofaScore attacking momentum, Real Madrid dominated this game. I know that doesn't mean anything because you lost 3-1, but I'm just looking at the process of this, and especially because it's preseason and not the scoreline. I'm not worried, Mehedi, about this team generating chances. I think I've seen enough, and this goes hand in hand with my prediction before the preseason started. With Bellingham's arrival, your build-up phase is pretty solid. The amount of opportunities you can create with so many creative geniuses, it's not going to be really a big problem generating chances. Putting the ball in the back of the net consistently in the post-Benzema era, if you don't replace him, that's a problem to me. I think, though, that's a real problem, not just a preseason problem. I predict that will be a real problem if you go into next season with the same squad that you currently have. So, Mehedi, here are the statistics on the shots. And I don't have the XG yet. Do you have XG by any chance?
No, I don't think
we'll find it as we finish recording. We're going to do a lot of things on the fly tonight. You know, including Carlo Ancelotti quotes as they come in. We'll look at that. 34 shots for Real Madrid. 1 goal. Juve, 11 shots, 3 goals. 66% possession. Dominated the ball. Had a bunch of chances. Not all of these were clear-cut, but several of them were. Like I know people are going to complain like, oh, a lot of chances, but they weren't like great chances. Look, 34 shots, you're bound to have some great chances in between. And there were. They weren't all just like shots from 40 yards. There were actually real chances in the box that we didn't capitalize on. So that's just a long-winded way of saying, Mehedi, here's what I think is real and what's not real from preseason. What is real is our ability to create chances. What is real is our inability to score enough goals over the long course of the season. What is also real is that we can't defend set pieces very well, and we give away the ball under pressure. We need to work on our press resistancy, and we need someone to score goals.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it is real that we are creating a lot of chances. The midfield dynamic of this club is probably the best in the world right now. Not even probably, like it has to be the best in the world. The kind of quality, mix of youth, experience, talent, skill we have, even the physical presence. The midfield dynamic is just very, very good, which allows us to create a lot of chances. A lot of these shots were just like wild efforts from Fede Valverde, Jude, Camavinga from outside of the box, and some of them were actually pretty close. So the midfield is basically, how I see it, the midfield dynamic is actually making our attack look better than what it is. Because if you take a look at it, after seeing them over 4 games, I actually haven't been impressed by anyone barring Vinicius. Rodrigo, Joselu, Brahim, none of them have actually like steered a storm or anything. Joselu scored a great goal, but even then he got a couple of chances today that at least one of them should have been put away. And at some point in time, you have to put those away. Rodrigo, again, doing a lot of things well in the build-up phase. But the thing is, we have enough people to do those things now in the build-up phase. We have Camavinga playing a little bit advanced now. We have Fran Garcia making significant contribution to the attack. We have Jude Bellingham. We need goals at this point. So Vinicius, as great as he is, I think it is unfair to ask him to score all of Benzema's and Asensio's goals, the players who have left. So I think our attack is actually even in a worse shape than it's looking like because our midfield is generating so many chances. And Vinicius being the only bright spark in attack. So I have serious concerns if Mbappe doesn't arrive. I have serious concerns actually how much production we get from Joselu, Rodrigo, because again, I have no issues with losing these games 3-1, 3-0. That's fine. That's the preseason part I wholeheartedly accept, and I don't worry about the results. But it's how the team has reacted in front of goal does concern me a little bit. So that's that.
I'll add to like who I was impressed with and not impressed with. I agree. Like, so today, for example, I was pretty high on Vinny. I mean, even in like I thought we got better as the game went on. The first 10, 15, 20 were pretty bad. But even in the first 10, 15, 20, Vinny was a threat. He was a menace. Like, they didn't really know what to do with him, especially Danilo. Bremer was a little bit better, but Vinicius's level was on a completely different sphere, I thought. And I have no issues with him. People will complain like, oh, he missed this chance, he missed that chance. Like, look, he is right now your best goal scorer, and he is creating the chances he misses. Like, I don't think he is the problem. Get him a goal scorer, and I think it elevates everybody. I've been largely impressed with Bellingham. I think he's been a little bit unlucky not to score more goals. I think it's been a solid start to his Real Madrid career. I mean, technically, I don't even think it's officially started yet. It officially starts at San Mamés on August 12th when the official match starts, but I think he'll be fine. I like his movement between the lines. I like his vision of getting the ball into the box. I like his movement. I'll add one more to the list of players off the top of my head that I've been impressed with. I really liked Fran Garcia. I think he has this natural ability to just go into attack mode in the final third. Like, as soon as he gets it, or as soon as we win the ball, he sprints into the final third to receive it, and he just tries to get the ball in the box. Now, I think there were a couple moments where he could have done a more calculated cutback, and because that's the problem with, like, he's like, it's a good problem, but he's always like go attack. Sometimes he can just slow it down and play a cutback, but I also think if you get him a presence in the box who can score goals, he's going to get a ton of assists. With Joselu, I'm not disappointed nor impressed. Joselu is who I thought he was. A really good striker off the bench as a backup striker. I think he can be fine. I don't think he's the guy who's going to score you 30 goals. That's all. So my expectations for him, I thought, were in check. But you didn't mention Tchouaméni, did you? Because I thought
I didn't mention Tchouaméni, but I think he has also been one of those bright sparks. I think he will be starting when the season actually starts at San Mamés. And Tchouaméni has been he has, like, I think, shaken off a lot of that. A lot of the negativity that was surrounding him, that he's not playing well, he's not getting game time. I think that's behind him right now. He looks fresh. He looks swift on the ball. One of my main concerns, and that I have written in so many pieces for Managing Madrid last season, was that Tchouaméni is a bit slower on the ball. His decision-making on the ball has been a bit slower in the second half of last season, but that changed during this preseason. He has actually been very intuitive. The one-touch football has been sublime. So yeah, I am excited about Tchouaméni.
Interesting Carlo Ancelotti quote, and I haven't gone through all of them yet. But this one caught my eye. Quote, "Our defense must be improved. There has been a lack of balance, and we need to fix that. It is an easy problem to solve. We can just lower the block a bit into a lower block, and that could be a solution." End quote. It just that stood out to me, and actually, that's the only quote that I've read so far, and it stood out to me immediately. I haven't gone in deeper. I'm curious to get your thoughts on it, and I'll just spitball you mine.
Yeah, it's like whenever Ancelotti mentions the word balance, my mind immediately races back to 2013, because he used to, like, for the first half of the 2013-14 season, before he finalized the midfield of Xabi Alonso, Modric, and Di Maria, he used to say it in every press conference: we need more balance. But coming back to present day, he mentioned lowering the block could be a solution, but then again, if we are lowering the block, I don't entirely know what he meant by that. Does he mean like more engagement in the mid block, in the mid third? If that what he means, then I will be behind it, because one of the main concerns that I noticed throughout this preseason has been that our pressing in the final third has been pretty decent. The team has had the intensity and had the right approach to press in the final third. But right behind that in the mid third, we virtually had no pressing. Whenever the opposition has the ball in the mid third, we allowed them to have the ball. And that basically kind of negates why are you pressing that high if immediately the ball comes to the mid third, then you give up your complete press entirely. So if Carlo is talking about lowering that down to the mid third, I'm okay with it. But I don't understand, or like I'm not probably understanding at this point in time how that might fix some of the defensive issues that we have been having during this preseason, because not all of those were related to how high we are pressing. Some of them are related to our lapse in concentration in the set piece moments, and some of them were just structural issues. So lowering the block would be a solution, I think, regarding how organized we're pressing in the mid third. But outside of that, I think there are even deeper issues than just lowering the block regarding our defense.
Well, I'll add some more to that. I'm skeptical of the idea of lowering the block. It does also seem like, because I had predicted, like, Ancelotti has never been shy about changing plans. And with an initial plan doesn't work, go back to 4-3-3, go back to what you were doing, go back to counterattacking low block. I would not be surprised if that happens. It may not, but I think Ancelotti's already hinted at it. The reason why I'm skeptical that a low block is a solution is, if you look at the chances and goals we've conceded in preseason, they're not because we're holding a high line. We're giving the ball. Look at Modric's uncharacteristic giveaway today. Look at Kroos's uncharacteristic giveaway against Barca. But not just to single out those two. So many times we've just given the ball away under pressure. That has nothing to do with a low block. In fact, I think if you sit even deeper in a low block, the chances of you getting counter-pressed and pinned and conceding more chances that way is higher. And the other issue is, we're brutal defending set pieces. That has nothing to do with the low block or high block. Other thing is, I think Tchouaméni solved some of this problem. We were all over the place on the second goal, and I have to watch it again. But from what my memory, it's that we're scrambling. We have no DM to track runners in the box. I think Camavinga should have reacted better to help Fran Garcia, who was marking two players. Nacho and Rudiger were not in position. There was just a lot of things happening. Hopefully Tchouaméni would solve some of that, because we know Kroos brilliant on the ball, and tonight again he was brilliant too. Like, on the ball in a vacuum, just incredible at what he does. The pass, but just so many sequences outside of that, so good on the ball. But we just know defensively his best position is not as a 6. So hopefully, I would like to, and again, we have so many fresh legs and young legs that can press, and Ancelotti did say that to me in one of the press conferences, that, with Bellingham, we can press more than we did last season. So I just hope, I think that would be too reactionary to go into a low block. Those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, we can, the things Real Madrid need, I don't think they're very drastic, but Real Madrid need little adjustments, but the team needs to sustain with those adjustments. For example, because of the diamond, our team has become very narrow in one phase of the build-up, because the fullbacks have to spread wide and be in a more advanced position. So when we're losing the ball, the two number 8s, or the two central midfielders, that could be Modric or Camavinga, they need to track back better to compensate for the already advanced fullbacks. That happened during Juve's second goal today. Fran Garcia did come back, but he was too narrow, and there was just an acre of space left behind him. So these are little adjustments that the team needs a bit more structure and direction, and they have to continue with that. It can be a one-off basis for each game.
Okay, so just going back to what is real and what is not real, is there anything that you saw today that you think that the fan base is overreacting on, that you don't think is a problem heading into next season?
Well, I'm one of those fans who are overreacting. But what isn't? I think I will go back to Vinicius. Vinicius is the point of focus, where I think even some of the things, because some of the things that I'm seeing Vinicius do, even as a center forward, he's adapting like in real time. If you remember the shot, it was like kind of a lobbed shot from the right hand side that almost got onto the net or like hit the bar. So he basically that's not a position you usually would find Vinicius Junior in. He's usually on the left half space, but he found himself on the right half space and he improvised and came up with a solution in real time. So I think if he plays like a few games more, he will adapt more. And even then, like in the counterattack, he's still pretty good. What Vinicius does need to improve a little bit on, if he's to stay as a center forward rather than a left winger, I think he needs to work on the power aspect of his shots, because he sometimes tries the cheeky shot a bit too much, but that might be good, or that might be good enough when he's playing as a left winger and the angles are in his favor. More centrally, that might not be the case always. But for example, today he did came up with a solution. So I think we are probably, and so here's what I'm going to say. We're probably overthinking a little bit about Vinicius and also the diamond as a whole, because as I said, the diamond, the defensive issues of the diamond, they can be fixed with little adjustments rather than like very drastic changes, than changing it to a 4-3-3 completely and lowering the block. So that's going to be my 2 cents, like Vinicius and the diamond as a whole. Like no system is 100% perfect. We just have to like grind it out. If again, the one player who shall not be named doesn't arrive.
Your point about Vinicius's role is interesting. I think because some of the concern about the diamond, and Matt and I talked about this quite a bit in the Dallas podcast, that it accentuates Bellingham's ability. But Vinicius has had to adapt. But I think the adjustment is pretty simple, because what was tough for Vinicius, if you go back to that game in the Clásico, was that he's receiving the ball like he's a hold-up striker with his back to goal at times. And I think the simple fix is, like, in possession, he just goes out to the left. You can still have a diamond, but it kind of morphs into a 4-2-3-1 of sorts. And he goes to the left, and you let Rodrigo or Joselu or Mbappe, hopefully, you let them take the central role, and Vinicius goes to the left. And I thought today he was able to do that. Like, I mean, he had so many dangerous sequences cutting in from the left side that, and obviously the goal itself was incredible. The goal itself, I think, deserves at least 10 seconds from us, Mehedi. Yeah. The weight of the pass and the precision from Cruz, and so effortless and so quick to play that ball, was incredible. But just Vinicius in that position is unstoppable. It's like the last thing you want to do is let Vinicius do what he's doing. He can do at his best, and which is get the ball on the left in open water, and it's like pretty much a breakaway. From that angle, he's so good. Just 10 seconds on that goal if you want. You can swoon over it if you want.
Yeah, was it Danilo who was running after Vinicius?
Probably.
Yeah, it looked like Danilo. Yeah, the pass was just a classic Cruz pass. Oh, well, there's been an ongoing joke about Cruz on Twitter right now, is that you see like all those starting 11s that has the potential starting 11 for next season, that has Mbappe and sometimes even has Alphonso Davies as left back, but not so much lately. But none of those starting 11s has Cruz in the starting 11 for next season. So it's been an ongoing joke that any 11 that doesn't have Cruz is not a serious Real Madrid 11, and I completely agree with that. I think he's still our best midfielder, basically, because whatever he does goes under the shadows, and he doesn't produce fancy numbers, so he doesn't get appreciated much. Cruz was, again, very good today. Half of that goal probably, it's Cruz who deserves half of that goal because of that pass alone. And Vinicius, with that kind of pace, that kind of space ahead of him, it's difficult for most defenders, unless you're probably like someone like Kyle Walker or something like that. It's very unlikely that you will catch him. And I think he himself took a few touches too many before taking the shot, but then he adjusted again real time, and in the end it was a pretty calm finish. So great goal. Unlucky that it wasn't for an equalizing cause or for a winning cause, but regardless, great goal.
What else stood out to you?
During the game, we already discussed about Fran Garcia. I think like even when Mendy becomes healthy, if we are to stick to this diamond formation, we need at least some contribution from one of the fullback flanks, and I think Fran Garcia can be that person. I'm not too hopeful of whatever I've seen from Carvajal and Vasquez during this preseason, and there is nothing new to report on them basically. But I am impressed by Fran Garcia heavily, and I'm excited to watch him start.
We had an Odriozola cameo today.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, because when he came on, I was confused at first because you see Vinicius come up. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? Because in Dallas, we saw this weird thing in training where Odriozola was playing on the right wing ahead of Lucas Vasquez, who was playing right back. And we were all kind of just joking, like, oh, Ancelotti's new 11, Odriozola right wing. And I thought maybe he's coming in to play on the right wing because Carvajal had just come on. But what happened was Odriozola went right back. Carvajal went to left back. And that's it. That's all I got to report. He had one good in the 92nd minute. Really good tracking to stop a counter attack. He did that.
That was really great. I actually have a question for you regarding the Bellingham and Vinicius, conundrum. So Bellingham can play as a 10, he can play as an 8. Vinicius is playing as a center forward now. Vinicius can play as a left winger as well. So if you were to juggle between the two, is the difference in quality, if we are talking about the difference in quality of the team, the offensive quality of the team, where does it decrease or increase more? If Bellingham is being shifted from number 10 to number 8, or if Vinicius is being shifted from left winger to center forward, like which is the worst of the two? I'm not talking about which is the better of the two. Which would you rather have? Vinicius center forward, Bellingham 10, or Bellingham number 8 and Vinicius left winger?
Bellingham 8, Vinicius left winger. Because I think that's probably the best position of both of them, although I think Bellingham looks great in the 10. I also just want to say something else that's really controversial that Madridistas will hate because everyone's mad right now. But it's kind of working now. The reason why we're so angry and we're kind of misanalyzing, misremembering, misdiagnosing. Because we're not scoring and our defense sucks, which makes us forget that we're creating a ton of chances with Bellingham in that role. Like there's so many, we're generating such a high volume of chances with this. So like again, what I'm saying is like our build-up phase is generally fine from midfield to attack. Once we get in the box, we're not efficient enough. And we're making too many defensive mistakes in between. So we're creating chances, and that's all good what we're doing. That's it. So it's kind of working in that sense. But we don't have anyone to really capitalize on this. And this is my thing, is that, like, if, for example, I'm not going to put words into his mouth, but I assume if, like, Ryan O'Hanlon is on the podcast right now, Ryan O'Hanlon, who wrote Net Gains, his whole philosophy, and the data says, if you create chances, that's half the battle. That's the hardest thing. Apart from scoring, that's the hardest thing to do. And when you're not scoring a high volume of chances, the data generally means that you're getting unlucky. Your goalkeepers are pulling off miracle saves. You know, you're just having a bad shooting night. Any other day like that could normalize, right? But I think even if it does normalize to an extent with this team, it's not going to be consistent enough. Like, I think there's going to be outlier games where you win 5-0. And everyone was like, oh, see, we told you, like, calm down. We can score. Trust in Ancelotti. But I think those games are going to be outliers. I don't think you can do that consistently enough because I really, truly believe you don't have an elite goal scorer. Apart from Vinny, who's going to get you to 20-plus goals. But that's not, like, even last season when we had Benzema, that still wasn't enough. So even if this is what I wrote about the other day too on the website. Even if you replace Benzema and you get, did he score 30 goals last season?
Yeah.
Even if you patch together 30 goals. That still wasn't enough last year. You need someone to score a lot of goals. And I think we just need it. That's it. That's my prediction. I don't think this squad it's enough. I don't think it's enough.
True.
If I'm overreacting, I guess we'll find out. But
oh no, Kiyan, you're completely fine. Like,
all right.
by my overreacting standards, this is nothing.
I mean, look, the other thing is the right back situation is really.
Yeah, that is something like I'm like there is. I don't even think like there's even any point talking about that because it is what it is. We're not gonna get past this. Like Ancelotti, even if he plays in a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 diamond or any formation, Carvajal and Lucas Vazquez are going to be a right back. So we're gonna have some lingering issues there. One thing to add regarding like our attack before we maybe finish up is that with Ancelotti, the thing is a lot of things are expected from individualistic point of views that players will improvise and they're allowed to express their individual skills in the final third, which has its pros and cons. Like when you have a genuine center forward like Benzema or Ronaldo, Mbappe, whoever, when you have someone like that, an elite goal scorer and an instinctive goal scorer in the box, whatever people are expressing around them, that's okay. They can do that. But Bellingham's natural instinct is not to come to the near post for a header. Neither is Rodrigo's. They're also creators. So if you don't have that defined structure in the final third, that no matter, like, you have to be here if the sequence of play is something like this. So those kind of details, they lack a little bit under Ancelotti because his final third game is all about expressing the individual skills. Again, which has the pros and cons. If you are not allowed to express their skills completely for someone like Vinicius, you'll not get the best out of him. So I think that's where we will be lacking if we allow everyone just to improvise in the final third because of the natural instincts of these players and how they've been brought on for so long. None of them are actual center forwards. We will just keep lacking the presence of a center forward.
Yeah, I think Bellingham is really good at attacking balls into the box. And he's physically imposing. He's tall. He can get on the end of them. Like, he's dangerous in that sense as an arriver, either at the top of the box to convert chances or attacking crosses. And there's been.
I'm also excited. Go ahead.
Well, just that there's been plenty of times this preseason where he passes it and then makes a run into the box and he doesn't get it back, and you can see the frustration on his face. But again, I think though, like, if he can score like 10, 15 goals next season, I think that's a supplementary piece of him. He's not going to live and die in the box and score goals.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the like one-touch plays that I've seen from Bellingham, combining with Vinicius and Camavinga, sometimes with Fede, those have really like excited me because I'm really excited to see that in real games as well. And this will actually keep cooking. This will actually keep brewing and getting better. I'm not expecting it to get to a Messi, Jordi Alba connection level or a Marcelo Ronaldo connection level right after this season. But all of these players are young players. I expect them to play for many years together at Real Madrid. This will only get better, like the one-touch combinations that we have seen in this preseason from Bellingham.
Some more Carlo quotes. I'll just read them off quick. He says, "I give the preseason a 6. It is clear that we know we have to solve. It's evident. On the offensive side, I'm not worried. We have generated a lot of chances. In general, I think we've had control of the game in the 4 friendlies, and I'm more concerned about our defense." Also praised Fran Garcia's energy. Says that defensively, we all need to improve. When the rivals have pressed us, we've had difficulties coping with the press. Arda Güler, he says it's not serious. He thinks it's going to be a month off at most. They're assessing whether to operate or not. And then a little tribute to Buffon. This is a nice quote. "I met him when he was 17 years old, and he seemed like an alien to me. the same way I see Arda Güler as an alien at 17. Yeah. I think
Buffon never won a Champions League. I hope that doesn't happen with Arda Güler.
I can't believe that Buffon never won a Champions League for that longevity, and he was part of some great sides, man. Yeah, I don't know if I'm necessarily not worried about the offense. Ancelotti is right that we've created a lot of chances, but I'm definitely on his side when he's worried about the defense.
What would be your rating? Do you agree with the 6 rating?
Yeah, why not? 1-2, lost 2.
Yeah, I would probably lean towards a 5.75, but 6 is fair, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. Can I give you the glass half full view?
Sure.
When I say this, I don't really necessarily agree with what I'm saying. I'm just talking. I like to provide different perspectives. That's all. If you're really pessimistic about this season, don't hate me. I'm just trying to bring a different perspective. This is the perspective if we want to be really put our optimism glasses on. Going back to Clásico, Vinicius missed a penalty. Frankie de Jong should have had a red card. We hit the crossbar 5 times. That game should probably not have ended 3-0. And if anything goes our way, even one thing, that game is completely different, the scoreline. Having different conversation. And then today, we just generated a million chances. Rodrigo probably should have had a penalty. That's it. I don't know. The other thing is today, like, we were playing against freaking Allegri ball. Not 1970s Brazil. We made Allegri ball look like that second half was like it was embarrassing.
I think this was a good exercise for the team because like they got to play against different play styles. I think that was good. We got to play against Allegri ball. We got to play against Ten Hag's United, who are like very high pressing side. We got to face a familiar opponent in Barcelona. So I think from a preparation perspective, this preseason has been one of the good preseasons, I would say. Like even if you see like the kind of we basically came up with our full strength squad. So many times we see in preseason that a big international tournament has just finished and we're only like coming up with 7 or 8 Castilla kids. Not all main team players are even back before the first week of the first La Liga game. So in terms of preparation, the whole team was together. I think we could have done more interesting tactical things because the whole team was together. But what is gone is gone. I think from a preparation perspective, it was good.
Is there anything at all that we missed that you thought you want to touch on? Yeah, I'm curious.
That's pretty much it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I have some other things, but I feel silly boring everyone with them now. They're not really that important. And I think when we get to that August 12th game versus Athletic, we'll probably start to bring out the really, really nerdy, detailed analysis. But until then, talk more big picture stuff about preseason rather than this game specifically. And I think we're on the same page, Mehedi. Improve your press resistancy, improve your set piece defending, improve just defensive structure and the way you track runners into the box, improve goal scoring.
Or just buy Mbappe and none of this matters.
Buy Mbappe and see if you can include Achraf Hakimi into the deal too. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So, but baby step, one step at a time. I don't know. I still don't think it changes much with regards to Mbappe. I know there's memes in Managing Madrid included that Florentino's on the phone after this game.
Yeah.
But I still don't think they're going to make the first call. So I think that it's a bit of a waiting game now.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Did you see that report where like I'm pretty sure like it's one of those just Twitter account reports where someone said that Real Madrid's PSG are absolutely sure that Real Madrid's first offer will be extremely low and extremely insulting, and insulting in all caps.
This is the problem with Twitter, man.
That made me laugh, like how they put insulting in all caps.
Whatever creates rage and clicks. I will say I gotta just absolutely love the report that PSG would. I don't even remember. Was it they're going to file a complaint for Real Madrid for basically just existing?
Yeah.
And I just remember that 2 years ago there was that whole era where PSG would get so mad every time we talked about them in public, like as if they, everything was about like tampering with them, and they would get so mad. But this thing about filing a complaint because they think we have an agreement with Mbappe is just absolute nonsense. There's a reason why both Mbappe and Real Madrid have been absolutely silent on the matter. And so their only real crime is that we just exist.
Did you notice that like every time Real Madrid do something to Mbappe, PSG kind of take it out on Barcelona? Like we tried to sign Mbappe in 2021, they got Messi.
Mehedi, you should join the Twitter rage campaign.
No, I am.
PSG have retaliated against Real Madrid by signing Dembele.
And
caps lock.
I saw like a whole list like where they didn't let Verratti to go to Barca, and like there was this whole list of like 7 or 8 things. Like every time Mbappe doesn't come to Madrid, Barcelona get hit by PSG for some reason. But I'll allow that part. No worries.
It's funny because right around that time when the first news broke that PSG wanted to trigger the release clause, obviously now the deal is a little bit different because the date has passed or whatever. I had, unbeknownst to me, I was just wandering Dallas on my last night, and I was checking out this hotel that I heard was really nice. It's called the Thompson Hotel, and I didn't know until I walked in the lobby that it was Barca's hotel. And I see Laporta having like a really serious conversation in the lobby with like his entourage, and I was like, I can only imagine they're talking about like Dembele and PSG, and what's going on there. But man, I like if they lose Dembele, that's a pretty big blow.
Yep, you've seen Florentino in person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you've pretty much seen the 2 bosses of the Super League now that Juventus are out too.
I haven't gotten that close to Laporta other than just walking by him in the lobby a couple nights ago. But Florentino, I've actually had a brief conversation with, and he's exactly what you think he's going to be like. Like he like the Sopranos, quiet, only uses as many words as he needs to, very, very calm. And you can just tell, like, after the conversation, he's probably going to go in the back and light a cigar, put his feet on the table, count some bills.
Yeah, and like jazz music playing in the background, something like that.
All right, Mehedi. Is there anything else at all?
No, I think that's all. Looking forward to the season.
All right, cool.
One way or the other.
So we're pretty much back to regular schedule now, just for our viewers' sake. On Friday, we're moving Mailbag to Friday. So if you want access to Mailbag and also ask questions for the Mailbag, make sure you're a patron over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. You can submit questions and we'll answer them. And that goes every single week on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. And we've also put a ton of bonus content there. We're only doing 2 free shows per week. The rest is patreon.com/Managing Madrid. I'm going to say that link one more time, just in case you didn't hear it. All the action is there. We'd love for you to join because you get so much bonus content. And you also get to be a part of Zoom calls with us and get 2-3 at least bonus shows per week. And certainly when the season starts, we're revving the engine. So get in on that action. Mehedi, thanks so much. Appreciate your time. And
thanks, Kiyan.
Talk soon. Peace.